intersection of 14th Street and Northmount Drive is the junction between three Northwest Calgary communities: Cambrian Heights, Rosemont, and Triwood. The land that these communities were built upon, between Confederation Park and John Laurie Boulevard, was annexed by the City of Calgary in 1910. However, development did not begin until the late 1950s. Being developed in the post-war housing boom, these communities are dominated by single detached dwellings, with a small number of apartments and duplexes. They have all shared similar patterns of population growth and experienced consistent population decline since the 1960s. Cambrian Heights, situated in the northeast of the intersection, has seen its population shrink by approximately 1/3 since 1970. Most people in the community are between the age of 25 and 44. However, there is also a sizable aging population. There are several community facilities in Cambrian Heights, including Cambrian Heights Elementary School, which was built in 1957, the Cambrian Heights Community Center, with playing fields and an outdoor skating rink, as well as 6 places of worship. The majority of dwellings are single detached homes. Rosemont, situated in the southeast of the intersection, is one of the smallest communities in Calgary, with a current population of 1,235. It was the first community in Calgary to reject the traditional grid street pattern, adopting the curvilinear street pattern seen in most suburban developments today. Facilities in the community include Rosemont Elementary School, built in 1959, and the Rosemont Community Association, housed in a former church built in the 1920s. In the year 2000, single-family dwellings represented 3/4 of housing in the neighborhood. However, Rosemont has an unusually high number of duplexes. West of the intersection is Triwood, consisting of Collingwood, Charleswood, and Foothill Estates. The population of Triwood has seen the greatest decline of the 3 communities, of about 3,000 people over 30 years. In 2000, the 65-plus age group consisted of 1,260 people, whereas in 1980, it was a mere 445. Triwood was the first community in Calgary to build an arena as part of its community center, which is still an important facility today. Educational facilities in Triwood include St. Francis High School, as well as 4 elementaries and a junior high. Single-family dwellings are even more dominant in Triwood, consisting of about 80% of the dwellings throughout history. From their establishment, more than 60 years have passed. Due to the shared features, I shall refer to all 3 communities as one entity. There are a number of advantages to living in the CRT, such as ample green spaces. They take forms such as green boulevards, parks, streets with canopy covers, and community gardens, just to name a few. Recreational opportunities are also ample in the CRT. Each community has its own community center, sports field, skating rinks, and access to the Confederation Golf Course. Transportation is another key advantage to living in the CRT. The communities are bisected by 14th Street and Northmount Drive, and are adjacent to major arteries like Crowchild Trail and John Laurie Boulevard. Public transit is abundant. The communities are adjacent to both the Banff Trail and Brentwood LRT stations. As well, because of its proximity to several major thoroughfares, there are a number of bus routes that run through all 3 communities. Major routes include the 72 and 73, the 20, and the 89. CRT residents are blessed with an abundance of locally owned businesses. the highest concentration of which can be found around the intersection of 14th Street and North Mount Drive, though others can be found throughout Triwood. Other advantages include back alleys, homes that aren't dominated by front garages, a neighborly attitude of community members, safe, well-lit streets, and bike paths. Despite these advantages, there are many distinct challenges confronting the CRT communities. Traffic congestion and connectivity are foremost among these. This is primarily due to 14th Street's role as a major commuter road from the northwest into the downtown. High levels of traffic are not only intimidating to pedestrians, but also create the impression that the area is for commuters and not residents. The restrictive physical design of parking lots on North Mount Drive, in conjunction with traffic on 14th Street, make this area frustrating to navigate regardless of travel methods. This problem is compounded by an overall lack of automobile and more so pedestrian connectivity between the various shops in the area and surrounding residential communities. There are a number of aesthetic issues throughout the community, but primarily at the intersection. There are cell phone towers, the strip malls are outdated, and there is a lack of cohesive architectural design. Within the CRT, there is an ongoing trend of gentrification, though it is not occurring at the scale or rate of communities such as Hillhurst and Sunnyside. While the trend of infill developments does show some form of new investment flowing into the area, this form of housing challenges the architectural consistency and affordability of these communities, and is largely considered overbearing by the residents. The final challenge confronting these communities is one of demographic nature, growing with the aging population. There has been talk about the closure of Cambrian Heights Elementary due to the lack of local children. There is also a lack of elderly support, and combined with inefficient connectivity, provides a range of challenges facing these post-war neighborhoods. Since their annexation, these three communities have played an important role in Calgary. Though city practices and their own boundaries have changed, which often blurs their exact locations, they have been able to adapt, which shows their resilient qualities and the potential they have to be an efficient system. The CRT benefits from having great transportation infrastructure, a variety of amenities, local businesses, schools, and a variety of housing choices. The CRT is unique in its access to large open spaces connected by paths and side roads. All of these elements, as well as those discussed earlier, make these communities an attractive place for residents. One of the biggest challenges facing these communities is how to best serve their aging population. The demographic shift has affected the built environment as schools and libraries are closing and new infill developments are changing the architectural consistency of the area. However, there is great potential for the community to grow and adapt to be a more sustainable urban form. Among the many plans being discussed to improve these neighborhoods, alterations to the intersection of 14th Street and North Mount Drive are seriously being considered. Such alterations could make the area more efficient and a more permeable and accessible node for members of the CRT communities. These options for development help to promote the creation of effective systems, but also to maintain the feeling of the communities and to enhance the systems already in place.